Hey there, badass dream makers. This is the Relationship of Your Dreams podcast. It's Alex, your badass dream maker host. I'm here because I believe that all humans deeply desire and thrive in loving relationships. And let me tell you, it's possible because many do find the love of their dreams and more. I'm just here as a guide to help you through the variety of obstacles and hurdles in dating and relationships so that you can also find the love of your dreams. And you're bound to learn about yourself as well. So, 2-in-1 deal. We will get deep here and you may feel triggered at times. Triggers and discomfort are part of a growth process. However, please use discretion as to how much discomfort you are ready for. Now, let's jump into this juicy episode and get you what you want. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Relationship of Your Dreams podcast. This is Alex, your host, and I want to say welcome to all the new people. You are all lovely, badass world changers. I am excited for you to listen to this episode. As you saw in the title, this episode is actually about breakup. The reason why I am doing this episode is because I've been in about 8 relationships. So that means 7, at the least 7 breakups. And I had broken up with people a few times per relationship. So you can say safely that I have had over 7 breakups, probably more like 13, maybe 14. And most of them were me. Only one was someone breaking up with me because I was depressed at the time. And the rest were me. So let me just say that I have gotten very messy with breakups. I have done it through text. I have done it through call. I've done it through a video I've sent to someone before. And every breakup except for the last one was a shit show. Okay, was a shit show. Some crazy stuff has happened. You know, some people threatening things, and let me just tell you, it's been messy. And I want to tell you the magic formula to a successful, permanent, clean as possible breakup. Because I did a bunch of research and collected a bunch of information online and basically just put it all together and refined it into something that made sense. And I created like an order and how to talk about things, certain tips to make sure that we were on track and we were listening to each other as much as possible. So I am sharing this with you because I know that breakups are really messy. They are hard to do, extremely, extremely hard to do. Just because you're the person breaking up with the other one. Just because you are the breaker-upper does not make it any easier than being on the other side, than the receiving side of the breakup. All right, so this is something I'm actually going to put in the show notes, but I have a document, and this document is available to you if you reach out to me on Instagram at Relationship of Your Dreams, all lowercase. I will get your email and then I will send you this document. Okay, this has a chronological order of what to do, what to say, and general tips. Please don't try to go crazy by researching how to break up with someone. This is something that I've tried. It was the smoothest breakup in the world. And so let me just talk about it for now. So I just want to start by saying that there are some general breakup tips that I don't say in my chronological order, but something to keep in mind as you go. So something that was really helpful was to remind him that I genuinely did not regret any of the time we spent together. Now, you may feel like, oh my God, well, I did regret the time we spent together. I want you to think about that. I want you to think about if you actually regret it or if you learned lessons from it and it is something valuable to have gone through, at the least as a lesson or as several lessons. Okay? And also keep in mind that you are not trying to play a blame game here. You are talking about how you feel, how they feel, how things are affecting you, why they're leading to the conclusion, that you have decided, aka the breakup. Focus on the feelings and the thoughts, the content, rather than playing a blame game. The blame game is not going to go anywhere. It is going to close ears. It's going to close the conversation because it's going to close ears. Okay? This is no longer a conversation anymore. And if you really want to break up, that's not a conversation. Okay, cool. But watch out for you going back to that person because you never had that conversation. Because I have been there. I've broken up with people and just kind of did it abruptly, didn't really have a conversation about it, just left them. And then later on I was like, well, I don't feel like I have any sort of, settled feeling about this because we never talked about it. And then I would get back together with them. Make this a conversation, okay? And something else I really want you to think about is when that person is talking, like the other person is talking, try your best to not interrupt them. Let them speak their mind, their thoughts, their feelings. Let them get it out there. You are breaking up with them. Allow them the chance to talk, okay? And it might be really difficult if they are saying something that you completely disagree with, that you have strong opinions about, that you feel is completely incorrect. You are going to want to interrupt them, okay? There's a lot of reasons why you could want to interrupt them. Do your absolute best not to. Let them talk. Let this be a conversation, once again. And you can lay the ground rules of saying, hey, during this conversation, I want to do our best for both of us to listen to each other. So that involves not speaking over one another. Lay the ground rules. Okay. All right, now that we have some general tips, let's go into the first step. The first step is bringing up your concrete reasons for breaking up with them. Lay it all out. Just right from the beginning, tell them. Because guess what? If you are on the receiving end of the breakup, you're going to want to know why you're being broken up with, like as soon as possible. You just want to know. You don't want someone to beat around the bush. So let's do them a favor and also yourself a favor to start that conversation by telling them the concrete reasons for breaking up. And I would recommend thinking about it ahead of time of how to formulate those things so you can kind of just say them as statements rather than tangenting and rambling. So both you and that other person understand clearly what these reasons are. And they might not really understand or might not agree. At least you know. At least you can feel confident in saying it because you're able to say it so clearly. And it is going to help you stay on track and help you stick to your decision. Number 2, talk about how you figured this out. Talk about how you came to these conclusions. And this does not have to be some sort of long drawn out story, starting from this day to this day, this thing happened and then that thing happened. Just get to the main points as to how you figured these out. Because one reason is the person receiving the breakup is going to wonder how you came to those conclusions. And they might already know. They might be clear to them already. And it could be a little confusing or could seem maybe a little out of nowhere for some things. Hopefully you have talked about some of those things before having broken up with them. Basically just talk about the equation as to how you came up with the result in a succinct way, as succinct as possible. And another reason for this, relating back to the first step, is it'll help keep you on track and it'll help remind yourself why you're doing this so you can stick to it. Number 3, this one's a little hard, to be honest. When I was applying this in our breakup, our last breakup, my last breakup, this is when the tears started to kick in, and I don't regret doing this part because I think it was still really helpful in showing the person what I valued. So this step is talking about what you've enjoyed in the relationship. Again, this is a good reason why you should put the concrete reasons and how you came to those conclusions before you talk about what you enjoyed, because you really want to stay on track. Number 3, like I said, talk about what you've enjoyed. It's a way to show the person that you didn't just like experience negative things in the relationship, that you did in fact experience positive parts of the relationship as well. Like, for example, that you enjoyed some of the time you spent together, that there were fun conversations or cool intellectual conversations. You enjoyed food together, cooking together, maybe you enjoyed a trip together. Just say what you did enjoy. And this does not have to be a long list, okay? You don't want to like get back into the feels too much before you continue the conversation and before you continue the breakup, because this is something that could keep you stuck and stop you from actually breaking up with them. A couple bullet points, basically like just a few things that you have enjoyed to show that you have still valued the relationship. It wasn't just all shit. So the person on the receiving end doesn't feel like it was all shit and that this was like a waste of a relationship, because at the end of the day, it's not. There are so many things that you learn from relationships, whether it be the negative parts or the positive parts. Acknowledge those. 4, you can talk about things that they have taught you. I personally did this. I think this step is a little like up to you. I personally wanted to thank them for the things that they taught me because I appreciated what they taught me. For example, I had often confronted things through text or waited to confront things until it was compiled. And then he finally said, hey, I think we need to like have these conversations as soon as possible and talk about them in person. So even though that like they're tough conversations, we can make it productive. And honestly, that was something that was really valuable that I took from that relationship. And I really wanted to thank him before I wasn't going to talk to him anymore. He also helped me focus on my breathing because I just struggled with my breathing here and there, which sounds crazy, but like just him telling me to focus on my breathing was really helpful for my body and helpful for my regulation. And yeah, so there was just like a few more things, but like basically it was my time to thank him. Why that's important, in my opinion, is after the breakup, you're going to start thinking about the things that were positive, aka like nostalgia. So you're going to get into the feels. And if you've had a breakup before, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. You often start forgetting the bad things and remembering the good things. And then you might feel this impulse to want to go thank them for the things that they did do well. And we want to be able to put a stop ahead of time, like prevent ahead of time from having continued conversations after being broken up. Because those continued conversations can lead to a getting back together when you're in that nostalgia. So I'm trying to get everything out here so I don't feel like I need to say more after. Number 5, talk about the things that need to be done. Actionable things that need to be done at this point. Something I'm really strong about is unfriending on social media. You don't have to block them if you don't want to. If you want to block them, that's fine. Usually blocking has a lot more of like a hatred feeling behind it, or unless it's something that you need so that if they reached out, there's no possible way that you could get like roped back in. But if you feel like you can control yourself, just unfriend them on social media. it's best to not see them. Even if you're not talking anymore, it's best that they're not popping up. Because again, you're going to be more likely to head into the realm of nostalgia and getting into those feels. And when you try to get over someone, seeing them is not helpful. That should be self explanatory, especially if you've been through a breakup and you did not unfriend them on social media. I think you know what I mean. Okay. Also, item exchanges. This still goes under actionable items. If there's any sweaters or any toiletries or anything that you've left at each other's places that need to be exchanged, given back, do that. So you can ask them, hey, do you want me to give these things back to you? And you can ask them, hey, can you give these things back to me? And sometimes they'll say, no, you can keep it. And then from there on, you can decide what you want to do with it, and like vice versa. And if they want it back, respect that. Even if it was like they gave you like a shirt that you often wore. And I don't mean like a gift. I just mean like, it was like one of their shirts laying around and it was a shirt that you tended to wear a lot. If they want it back, then they want it back. Okay, let them have it. Plus, that's probably better for you anyways to not be wearing this shirt anymore. And those are some actionable items you can do. If there's anything else that comes to mind, fill in the blank. Okay. Number 6, things that can be done in the future. So here I really want to drive home the point that you need to give it a certain amount of time before reaching out again, before seeing if a friendship seems like a desire or a healthy possibility. And if you are the person who broke up with them, allow them to reach out to you in a certain time period. If you really, really think that maybe you could be friends, if you are the one breaking up with them, you should not be the one reaching out to them in the future. Okay, you made this decision. It can also, on the receiving end, it can feel like a tease. It can feel like manipulation. Let them be the one to reach out. And please give it a good amount of time before reaching out. Like, tell them, if you're going to reach out to me, it has to be after 6 months. It has to be after 8 months or a year. I know that sounds like a long time, but grieving takes a long time. Although you are not grieving over a death, you are grieving over the death of a relationship. You're grieving over the death of a friendship. You're grieving over the death of your schedule that you already had that involved them, or texting them, calling them certain parts of the day. There are so many things that you are grieving. It takes time. Give it time. So if you are okay with them reaching out to you, tell them you can reach out to me at 6 months, at 8 months, after a year. And from then, we can decide if we want to be friends. And if you want to be friends, you have to treat it like a whole new friendship. You can't start where you left off, because where you left off was not just a friendship. It was more than that. So you have to treat it like a new friendship. You have to stop thinking of the other person as an ex over a friend. You have to think of them as a friend over an ex. You have to learn to be happy for them, not jealous. And when you hang out, if you hang out in public settings, not in private. And this is also something that you would need to talk about with a current partner if you get into a new relationship. When it came to my ex and I, we did not continue to talk. We were no longer friends, okay? And I never will be friends with him. I don't even want to be friends with him. Even if I wanted to, I just don't. I don't want to be friends with him. But this is something that is important to say during a breakup, because even if you don't end up being friends with them, there's going to be a part of you, if you still value them, there's going to be a part of you that really wants to make it a friendship and, wants to keep that connection going in some way. So even just putting that possibility out there is kind of relieving. It can feel like, okay, like I value you, you value me. We can put this on the table as a possibility because we value each other. It is just, it keeps it lighter. It doesn't make it feel as like absolute dead end, no more, nothing else. I think that a lot of people struggle with the concept of just ending the connection altogether, and a lot of people try to be friends after. And I just want to say again, if you try to be friends, make it way later on. Do some of the grieving first, or you're never, ever, ever going to be able to be friends. All right, so that wraps up this step by step. I want to say that in between, during this breakup, there were, times where we kind of tangented at points. I kept a physical copy of this and, bullet points so I could stay on track myself while I was doing some crying and he was doing some crying. And it was really helpful to have this in front of me, and I wasn't just reading it. I was looking at it for reference to keep us on track. And it's okay to let it go off track a little bit, because that's how conversations go. That's how raw conversations go. They tangent at times, especially when people have strong opinions or have strong emotions. Let the conversation take a natural flow while also keeping that skeleton outline in place. That'll help the conversation feel natural. That'll help the conversation bring up anything that it needs to. And keeping on track will help you stick to your word and help you make the points that you will not regret forgetting to say later on, because you have them in front of you. And that is all. That is all for my breakup tips, my step-by-step. And I just want to say that, again, breakups are hard, and the final goodbye is difficult. We were crying a lot. It happens, and that's completely okay. Cry, grieve. After the breakup, go surround yourself with loved ones. Go do something for yourself. Find a new activity, maybe, to just distract yourself. A new activity that's healthy, okay? I have a whole other episode about this that is one of my OG episodes. So go look at that if you are experiencing a breakup or had just broken up or you're still grieving. Go and do something for yourself, something healthy for yourself. And that's all. That's all I want to say, and I hope that you took a lot from this episode. This is something super concrete, and like I said, I have a document. So if you want that document, reach out to me, DM me at Relationship of Your Dreams, all lowercase, and I will get your email, and then I'll send it to you so you can have it. And yeah, and if you have any questions or any feedback on this that we can maybe even improve as I spread this to other people, feel free to give me feedback. I hope this is helpful, and I'll talk to you guys next time. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe, and then also share this on social media. Tag your friends who might be interested in this, and or tag or DM them, or tell them about it. Send it to them. I want this to reach a large audience of anyone who is going to go through this, because so many people go through breakups, and after having gone through so many messy ones and seeing this breakup be so successful, I really want to save that heartache. And it saves people from getting back together with that person as well. So please take this seriously and share this with your friends. And that is all. So again, thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you next time.